Good morning, class. I'm glad to see you back today. Did you all enjoy Archaeology 101? Did you go home and try to discover some things? Did you go behind and dig and try to find out what was there before you were there? Well, today we're going to dig a little deeper into this story. Before we can talk about the stones and what happened at Stonehenge, we're going to read a poem by Robert Stevenson. The name of the poem is Travel. We're going to do this TP cast. And what is a TP cast? It breaks down the poem and you by each section. You have your title, your paraphrase, your connotation, your attitude, your shifts, your title again, and then the theme. So we're going to start off by finding out what this poem is. Travel by Robert Louis Stevenson. Consider the title, Travel. What do you think that means? What do you think that entails? So let's make a prediction of what we think this story is going to be about. What I think it's going to be about going somewhere. How? I don't know. Where? I don't know. I just know that somebody is going somewhere. Let's go into the poem. I should like to rise and go where the golden apples grow, where below the northern sky parrot islands anchor lie, and watched by cockatoos and goats, lonely Crusoe building boats, where in the sunshine reaching out, eastern cities miles about, and with moss and minaret among sandy gardens set, and rich goods from near and far hanging for sale in the bazaar, where the great wall round China goes, and one side in the desert blows, and with the bell and voice and drum, cities of the other hung, where are forests hot as fire, wild as England's tallest spire, full of apes and coconuts, and the Negro hunters' huts, where the nighty crocodile lies and blink in the Nile, and the red flamingo flies. Honey fishes before the eyes, where in jungles near and far, man-devoured tigers are, lying close and giving ear, lest hunt being drawn near, or come about be seen, swinging in the palanquin, where among the desert sands some desert city stands, all its children sweet and prince, grown in manhood ages since. Not a foot in the street or house, not a stir of child or mouse, and when kindly falls the night, in all the time, no spark of light. There I come when a man with a camel caravan, light as a fire in the gloom of some dusty dining room. See the pictures on the walls, heroes, fights, and festivals, and in the corner find the toys of the old Egyptian boys. So now we're going to jump into ITP cast. We already discussed what the title meant to us. We're going to go through and we're going to look at it. It says, consider the type and make the prediction. We already did that. We said that the title says travel, so there, the child must be traveling somewhere. Do we know? No, but we're going to discover where they're going. Paraphrase. It says, put this poem into your own words. Make sure you tell what is happening at the beginning, middle, and end. Tell what is really happening and not what the poet is figuratively saying. So what does figurative and what is literal? Figurative means imagination, but literal means what's actually going on. So in our story, we're going to discuss what the paraphrase is. It says in the beginning of the poem, the narrator is writing from the perspective of a child who is imagining going to all these different places. But the middle of the poem focuses on listing many places and things he wants to see. So therefore, it is in present tense. And as far as the daydreaming, he's just thinking about all the different places he could possibly go. At the end of the poem, he's just back to the little boy that has the wild imagination. And he wants to visit all these places when he becomes a man. He will visit these faraway places and find things that were left behind by other people. Connotation. It says, look at the poem beyond the actual events. Look for the figurative language in the imagery. We love imagery in poem. It makes the poem come alive because we can see what the poet is thinking. So what do we see? It says the poem is full of imagery. Think about when he talked about the Great Wall of China, how the meat hung in the bazaar. You can see all these things as they spoke about it because you have seen them on TV. So your imagination goes wild. You can open your eyes and you can say, hey, I've seen that before. And he dreams and gives vivid details of how he wants to see these things and how he wants to visit and how the pictures on the wall and how the desert rolls and how the heat feels. And he even talked about the small knots on the back of the crocodile. We can see all those things. That's the best thing about having imagery in poetry. Attitude, your tone. It says, what is the speaker's tone? Is there more than one attitude, or does tone difference in the poem? I don't think so. It just sounds like a wide-eyed, happy child. And it says that the narrator is eager and excited at the ideas of traveling to all these different places. He's looking for going to these different places, and he just wants to see everything. That's what's so good about this poem, because it's a child that's just bursting with energy. So therefore, when you're happy, we don't talk regular. We kind of ramble on because we're so excited and we're so ready to go. And that's what he sounds like, a happy child on Christmas Day. I want to go here. I want this. I want that. I want to get it. He wants to go to all the places and he wants to do everything. Is anything wrong with that? No, it's not. That's the best thing about it, when you can imagine having everything. And did you know anything that you imagine, you can have for real? The shifts. Are there any changes in the speaker's attitude? Look for keywords and time change. In the poem, did you see any shifts where the poem took another turn? In some poems, we could see the shift drastically. But there was a big shift in this poem. Did you find it? Let's discuss it. It says the poem begins in past tense. He's imagining many things that have already happened and how he would like to see them. But the shifts in the present tense is actually when he's traveling. Because at first he was like, I want to see. And then he said that what I see, and that I'm there and I'm experiencing all of this. And so therefore, he knows what's going on because he's telling you how the picture's on the wall. We can imagine a lot of things, but if we're there, we can actually see those things. And that's where the shift in the story is when he got right to the end and he starts speaking of things that he saw himself. At first it was just imagination, but then he said, I see myself. And then at the title again, he says, look at the title again. Why is the title important to this poem? Well, the title is important to this poem because here we talk about Robert Stevenson. We notice that he tells this poem from his own perspective. And he's talking about himself or some child. And he's saying that they want to travel. Where do they want to travel? They started out as a child. But then if you notice in the poem when it got to the end, that the poem shifted just a little bit, and he discussed that he liked this place. And so therefore, when you move into a house, if you don't plan on being there long, do you put pictures on the wall? No. So he got to a place where he actually liked. Because if you notice when we got to the end of the poem, at the end of the poem, he talked about Egypt for quite a bit. So therefore, we notice that this is the place where he actually stayed. He traveled to all these places. And it always takes some time. If you go to different places, you explore them to see where it is that you want to be. Once you find the place that you really and truly like, what do? You stop. You stay there. And you begin to make it your home. In order to make a house your home, You do what? You put pictures on the wall. You put your personality into the place. And when he got to the end, when he got to Egypt, he made Egypt his home. I'm glad that you enjoyed this story, and this is our TP cast for Robert Louis Stevenson, Travel. All right, let's extend this lesson a little further. We're going to do an activity by TWR, The Writing Revolution. We're going to do a because, but, and so off the poem Travel. So let's start off. It said complete the sentence stem using but, because, or so. It is clear that the narrator wants to travel. So that is our stem sentence. So let's start with number one. It is clear that the narrator wants to travel because. Why? Why do you think he wants to travel? Let's look at our choices. He says that he wants to travel because he mentions several places around the world that he would like to visit. Let's go. This is a good reason on why he wants to travel. In the poem, he discussed all the different places he wanted to go and why he wanted to visit these places and what he was going to do when he got there. Let's go to number two. It is clear that the narrator wants to travel, but, oh, this is a twist, this is a term, but what? But some of the places he talks about are imaginary. They don't exist. But that's was one thing that's good about having a dream. You can think of all these different places and imagine that you're going there. And that's all that he wants to do. So therefore, yes, some of the places are imaginary, but they exist in where? His head. The last one. It is clear that a narrator wants to travel. So he is optimistic tone makes the reader excited about the idea of travel. This is one of our favorite activities, the because, but, or so of the poem Travel. Thank you.